Hello, listeners. This is Comm Talk with Communication Club at UTPB. My name is Alyssa Reese. I'm the president.
My name is Dustin Butler. I am the secretary.
My name is Beatriz Rivas, and I'm the vice president.
My name is Kaden Hayes, and I am the treasurer.
My name is Ruben Other, and I'm a committee chair.
Yeah, Ruben doesn't have a title.
I'm supposed to be the historian slash social media coordinator. Is that what that?
Yeah,
kind of like recording events.
Yeah, but when we set everything up, there was no that title didn't exist anymore. So Ruben's just whatever.
I'm a committee chair.
He's extra. He's other.
I'm other. I'm classified as other.
So, what are we doing here today?
So we're all communication majors at University of Texas, the Permian Basin. We're part of the communication club, and so we just wanted to start this podcast so we could talk about communication, basically.
It's been an interest, something that we've been interested in for a while. Me and Kaden Hayes over there. Hey.
Hello.
We've been trying to get something started a while ago. I've had experience with podcasts prior to being involved with the communication.
Shout out in Retrospect.
Yeah, man.
Retrospect
Shout out to
Radio.
Retrospect Radio. Shout out to Lynn Rivas, Jose Chavez, all the boys out there.
They know who they are.
They know who they are. They know who they is. But nonetheless, we just kind of wanted to get this started, and very excited to have you guys join us on this adventure. Very excited to have you guys here. This is pretty cool. I love being in this environment.
Right.
This is my first podcast. I'm very unfamiliar with what's going on, but I'm ready to dive in.
I guess, if we're ready to dive in, one of the first things that...
Yeah.
I was talking about it with Dr. Harlow, one of her professors in communication here.
Shout out Rachel Harlow.
But I was talking about a bit of marketing because I wanted to do that as my electives.
Right.
And I was talking about how marketing is like supply and demand. And I was thinking about the podcast as well when I was talking to her. And I was like, how can we make a communication podcast not only appeal to communication majors, but to everyone? So I was thinking about supply and demand. Like, what do people in college, because that's kind of like our target group, just people in college need to know. So I wanted to start off by transitioning into our first topic, which would be our transition stories into college from high school or just like Dustin.
Yeah, mine's different than everybody else's. So
Yeah, and I was just thinking about how people who listen to this, they can get a little bit more advice, a little more. Feel a little more relatable, because I know none of us had any clue going in. Any clue.
Hell no.
It's funny.
Maybe that's just me. I don't know.
I think back to some of the assignments I did when I was a freshman, and just how
God.
the lack of confidence I had, especially in
man.
discussion posts on
Yeah.
online classes. I hated discussion. Now I don't care.
Yeah,
I will write whatever. It doesn't matter.
Whenever they're asking for a 200-word response, and you're like, oh my god.
Yeah.
Dude, 200 words.
200 words.
Go 200.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that's the big thing I noticed. Is just those kind of things. I don't. It's discussion post, whatever. I'll knock this out real quick. Boom, boom, boom. Let's move on to the next thing.
But yeah, like I was saying, being relatable and giving people the reason to listen to our podcast, and just giving them maybe this will resonate with someone. They didn't figure out. We're all almost if not all of us seniors. I'm right there as a senior.
Yeah, I'm a senior. Yeah, I got this semester one more.
So yeah, this is our last semester, really, last 2 semesters. So we're I think I'm
Pretty experienced.
yeah, college is experienced, especially this semester. It's just I think I've learned a lot more over this past semester, or just this year in general. It's been kind of okay, I'm getting it, but it's also I'm almost done with college. So it's almost
Just when you start to get the hang of
just
it.
when you start to get the hang of it, I'm out of here with a whole lot of debt, but not too much, because UTP shout out, not
Shout out.
not
Shout out
too
to Wishing
UT Permian
UTPB.
Basin.
Yeah. But
Do you want to go ahead and get started on your transition?
Okay, so let me see. So I went to high school, Robert Lee, Texas, about 2 hours away from here in Odessa. And I I was somewhat like involved with mostly just sports because it's a really small town, 1,000 people, graduated with 20, so super small town. And it's like, so all you had was white people, and you had the Hispanic people.
Okay.
And not a lot of diversity, and especially made it not very diverse because everyone was kind of like the same person. There's a very like country kind of. Everyone was a rancher, welder, or something of that. Very technical, very practical people, but not a lot. Like the only people that really went to college, like even in that town, like my family, like I'm the first generation college student. Like I think my dad did a semester at MC over in Midland, but then you had me.
Wow,
I mean, at all, I guess. No, but he just most of them like they don't really see like the need for a college education because they're more practical with their hands. Like that's what they grew up on is just those hardworking values, which I really respect. But I was kind of looking for more like diversity and meeting new people and doing stuff like this. Like I wouldn't be doing stuff like this in Robert Lee, Texas. But
trying to catch up with the times.
Yeah, I know. Like they seem just very.
It sounds
exclusive.
like real old American. Like
but
I think they have a
ideology.
Dairy Queen.
Yeah.
No, they don't even have that.
No, you have a Dairy
That's
Queen.
Sterling City.
That's Sterling City. It's got the Dairy Queen. I know. The last time I drove through, I tried to use the restroom in town, and it was broken. So.
Dude, everyone's like waiting on the like, whoa.
Oh my.
We don't have plumbers, we're all farmers and plumbers.
But yeah, just thinking about that, like going from a small high school to not like a really small college, like a university at that.
Yeah.
I didn't really know what I was getting to. My friend, shout out Matthew Curry, my friend, he was like, let's just go to UTPB because he has family that lives here in out in Midland. So he's like, oh, it's a university, part of the UT system. I mean, why not? So I was like, I went to the Falcon Day, which I kind of forgot about until I was like, oh, I actually went there because I had a shirt in one of my like senior pictures, like a UTPB shirt, and I was like, how did I get that?
Where did that come from?
Yeah. And then so I went to the Falcon Day. I was like, oh, that was cool. And he was literally like, let's just go there. And I was like, cool. I was like, whatever. I don't know. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't know where I wanted to go. I just know I wanted to go to college. So I was just like, you know what? It's cheap. It's it's got some credibility under its wing, and I was just like, yeah.
You had me at cheap.
That was not gonna lie.
A major factor.
I feel like that's a factor that some of the higher ups kind of like don't really mention. Like they don't want that to be the
Yeah.
The main.
It's more of like I think the way I always understood it to be is like more affordable.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
okay. That's the
Stop,
most.
yeah, stop calling it cheap, man. It's
It's
more affordable.
affordable.
Okay,
It's affordable.
okay. When I
At a national stance.
yeah,
as well.
when I say cheap, you're still getting the same amount of
Quality.
credibility as like some of the best colleges in the nation.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Like I've met some like smartest people I know here. Like the professors are just
Mind blowing.
Mind-boggling.
scholars of like really good scholars of their field of study.
And some of them have their degrees from this, or at least have a
Yeah.
degree from this school.
Yeah,
Dr.
like-
Cox
I'm the
has.
same.
He's got his bachelor's degree from UTPV.
From UTPB, and then he did his graduate studies at I think Penn State. So it's like, but you're getting like some of like the best minds like here because some of the smartest people I met like I think it is Dr. Spickerman, humanities.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like you see some of these rooms, they're just filled with books.
If you want to talk to someone about movies, go talk to Dr. Waldermuth. He will
There's
blow
so-
your mind
There's
with
so much like
knowledge he has about
variety.
movies.
Like it's not a huge faculty, but they're just so good at what they do.
Right.
And within our communication faculty, like you got Dr. Cox with rhetoric, and you got Kevin with more like the political and intro side of things, and you got like Dr. Harlow's that deal with more like theories, and even like William Harlow, Dr. William Harlow with more of he was a diplomat. So I mean,
Isn't Rachel Harlow also a rhetorician?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. She's also very rich.
But But yeah, I wouldn't have expected that when I first came in. I was just like, honestly, my first idea was like, let's look, another rinky-dink, just kind of university.
Just throwing professors in
It's
here.
small. I
Yeah.
didn't expect like much of it, so I was just like, I'll see how it is. I was thinking about even doing like capstone, but I was like, I don't even know if I have the money for that. But back when I was saying like, cheap doesn't mean bad. Affordable is a better word. It doesn't have such a
Yeah.
negative connotation.
Not only that, it's just a smarter move. Like looking ahead of college or university and get your bachelor's degree. Like you're going out of college with lesser debt than you would at a bigger school. I mean, you may have had like a more like a college experience there instead of like how unorthodox it's been here. But nonetheless, it's like quality. I've looked at it that way exactly. The whole time I've been here, it's just been a little bit difficult, like adjusting. But I mean, we're college students, so like that's expected. So
Yeah, like I really agree with that, and just my experience, like as a freshman here, I didn't really do a whole lot. Like I went to the orientation; it was fun. I got a Falcon Awesome Award. For those who don't know or who didn't get it, didn't pay attention to your orientation. Falcon Awesome is you get split up into your different groups during your freshman orientation, and it's usually just the orientee that interacted the most and just kind of shined the most, got the Falcon spirit.
Nice.
So I got a foam finger from that. I still have it.
Nice.
At my orientation, I messed up our little, because we did a little like chant,
Yeah.
like in the like cafeteria, or what used to be the cafeteria at the SAC,
Mhm.
and we were supposed to be quiet for like 1 second. I messed up. I was the only person who was super loud in that 1 second we weren't supposed to do anything. And the orientation leader just kept laughing at me, like not like in a making fun of me type of way, but like in a
Nah, he was.
bro, like
Kaden was actually the orientation leader for my orientation.
Aw.
Yeah. So I did 2 years at a community college, then
Yeah.
came over here. So whenever I came over here as a junior, and you were the orientation leader. Whenever
What do you like? What was I like?
What do you remember?
all I remember
What was I like?
because
Like he doesn't know.
because Midland College didn't make you go to orientation, right? So I was mad just that I had to go do it, right? I was like, "This is a bunch of crap, or whatever." and so all I remember was like, because I came in as a communication major, and they had put me into School of Business for whatever reason. Like that was where I was gonna go meet my professors at the School of Business. But I remember you got up and said you were a communication major, so I made a point to go there and talk to you at some point, so that I could be like, "Hey man, I'm a communication major too." And then lo and behold, we ended up having a class together the next semester. So yeah,
I vaguely remember that.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
I've had like so many people like over that like
A lot of interactions.
yeah over the course of like 2 years. Like I've been like an orientation leader and a student orientation coordinator. So I've met like a bunch of people, and like I mean every freshman I've probably interacted with in some way, like either as like just kind of like a making a blanket statement to like everyone in the room, or just I feel like
a blanket statement, like
Yeah.
covering them all.
yeah
I
like,
like
trying
that.
to yeah
I've never
yeah
heard that before, but
yeah I guess like getting back on topic, freshman year I didn't really do much, but I knew like after the orientation program I was kind of like inspired to be an orientation leader. Like that was kind of like my first thing like here in college. Like the first 2 semesters, I did classes. I was just getting kind of adjusted to this whole like, oh, it's all on me now, because
oh man, yeah.
yeah, like that was the big thing. Like, oh, this is a lot of responsibility, and I'm like, 18 years old, and I'm just
Rowdy, ready for the world,
ready to
ready
see.
for any obstacle to cross your path.
Yeah, I was just like, I didn't really know what to expect. I didn't have like huge expectations, and therefore I didn't really have like a standard. I was just like going into it day by day, not really knowing what to expect, but I was just rooming. Okay, so talking about the dorms for 1 second.
Okay.
The 2-person dorm for the freshman people, they're really, really, really nice dorms. Do not get me wrong. There's no privacy in those rooms.
I can imagine.
Zero
that.
privacy. And so it caused like tension between me and my best friend,
Oh no.
who I'd known since like 3rd grade.
Oh
And it was like, but he was going through stuff, and like there would be times where it's just like I felt like he just needed some
Space.
and that was like the one thing. But the 4-person dorms, like you each have your own
Yeah.
like little room. It's smaller, but it's cool. It's cool.
I stayed in the 4 bedrooms.
The 2-bedroom, I think, were more expensive too, for my knowledge.
Alyssa and I were also straight out of high school, right? Were you straight out of high school coming into
Yeah,
UT?
I was.
So just going off of that, I know we're talking about like our transition from
Yeah.
high school to college. How was it for you guys? Because you're from Odessa, correct? No. Where are you from?
I didn't even know.
I'm originally from Monahans, which is 40 miles away.
That's right.
I love
from
the
area.
dunes.
West
Dunes.
Yeah.
Texas and the house.
Well,
West
famous.
Texas repping over here, yeah.
Old famous. Do you want me to take over for a little bit? Or?
Yeah, yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay. Let's see. Transition from high school to college. Okay. So this is Beatriz speaking.
Yes.
Yeah. I am originally from Monahans, about 40 minutes away. And the thing about the culture of academia is trying to push all the smart kids into college as soon as possible. They try to tell you to like apply for all these scholarships, apply to the FAFSA, apply for every college you can. And the thing is, like, even the smart kids, like, you're still a teenager, and not everybody's ready for that at that age.
Yeah, I think it's kind of crazy to put that on it. Like, what do you want to do the rest of your life when
Absolutely.
you're 18 years
Commit
old?
to this now.
But the thing is, not talking bad about college because I really, sort of like my college experience and getting to know all these people. It's like making connections. But I feel like on the other hand, people want you to go into college, or like colleges kind of promote that.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't kind of like realize it's like, oh, do I really need it or do I not? It's just good. Like a degree is good to have either way.
Right.
And then you can get like a higher understanding of, maybe of if you have a clue of what you want to do. Maybe it'll just give you more of an understanding of that. But yeah, like when I was 18, I was like, I don't know.
Yeah.
And that's why I wanted to make it a point, like straight coming out of high school, like that was pretty dense stuff to be going through.
Oh, yeah.
And not that it was like super difficult, but it was like it was
The biggest
difficult, but it
decision
was-
of
it was
your
pretty
life at the
big,
moment, I think.
And taking like dual credit classes while in high school is the absolute worst.
I also don't understand how we were able to make it through high school. We
With
had
the
like 8 periods in one
extracurriculars?
day.
Yeah.
I can barely manage like 2 classes in one day
Yeah.
now, so I'm like, oh my
Exhausted.
god.
I have 2 classes that are like right next to each other,
I'm
like back to
It's
back.
over. It's
Like
over.
when the second one's over, I'm like, I need a nap.
Yeah, seriously.
I don't know why. I think it was just in high school, like you had like all of your friends and you weren't really like mature, and everyone else wasn't mature yet. So it was just like,
Speak for yourself.
So I had this one class in high school that I was a troublemaker, and I had a friend in this class, and the teacher just put us in the back of the room, just like
Oh my
y'all are back there, y'all do whatever y'all want, just like
don't
don't.
have
to-
And so
Don't
what
class.
we ended up for most of the year, we dug a hole, like we tunneled a hole, we tunneled a hole from like the room we were in to the next room because our teacher was always like.
wait. You dug a hole.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
the shot
In
you-
what?
Shawshank
What did you use?
What, like pencils, spoons, whatever.
Anything we could
This
find.
is
Yeah.
prison, dude.
Yeah, so like because the teacher was always like the walls are paper thin, so we're like, how thin are
It was
these?
a challenge.
No,
It's really tested, you know? That's so funny.
Wow.
I love that so
What?
much.
What?
So that's what was going on with.
Yeah, that's what was going on with me.
Did y'all actually successfully?
Yeah, we dug a hole all the way through it, and they were like,
Like,
whoever
like-
dug a hole, and it felt like it was obvious, like we obviously had dug that hole, but like no one ever said like, hey, y'all dug that hole.
Wow.
Could y'all crawl through, or was it just like a? Like
No,
a
it was pretty small. It was like quarter size.
Okay. I'm thinking like.
You know, it wasn't like
Like
huge or
crawling
anything.
through the-
No, like you couldn't like go through it or anything.
Yeah.
It was just like the size of a quarter.
No,
That's
okay.
so funny.
Yeah.
Still.
What?
Yeah.
All right, Beatriz, get us
Carry
back
on,
on
carry
track
on.
of talk.
Where were we?
You were talking
Your
about not
transition.
being ready, like going into college or like academia. And stuff
Right.
Like that.
Okay, yeah. I was actually set to be the salutatorian for like a while, and then like halfway between the spring senior semester, I just stopped caring.
It happens.
Senioritis.
Happens to the best of us, right?
I just like hated everything about the dual credit, about like all the pressure and everything, about I don't know, just that whole not the word environment, what's the word I'm looking for?
Culture, like
I don't know.
Expectations.
I guess environment's a good way to say it. Like just climate. There we go.
oh, okay.
Just like the climate of like teachers expecting me to like do as much as I can in such a small amount of time, and I just stopped caring halfway through, and I stopped turning in assignments on the dual credit classes.
Whoa.
And one of my teachers actually like pulled me into the hallway and asked me what the hell I was doing, and I just didn't care. Like it obviously like it hurt to like let these people down, of course, but
Yeah.
it wasn't enough for me to like
Yeah.
Like motivate you.
yeah.
See, like, quick note, like, I took dual credit as well. I came in with, like, 30 credits. And I thought it was, like, super smart because it was, like, a way cheaper way of just, dual credit. Like, and it also kind of gets you prepared with, like, okay, this is kind of what college is like.
Right, that's the ideal.
And my teacher that would monitor us was just all over us on that, like, annoyingly so. I mean, now I'm, like, in college, and it's just, like, I don't know why she was so hard on us. And so, like, down our throats about, like, getting our stuff done when it's ultimately up to us.
Of course.
Like the teacher that was in there monitoring us, she should have just kind of let us do our thing. If we didn't pay attention, we didn't pay attention.
Mm-hmm.
And if we didn't turn in our work, that's on us. I mean, she wasn't paying for it; we were paying for it. So it's
Yeah.
all on us if we want to, pass the class or anything. It's,
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's just like they're trying to just lead you to that, success essentially. Because
Yeah.
I mean, looking at my transition, I kind of come from a family that, again, they're like what you were saying about the small town.
Mhm.
There's not a high emphasis on education and stuff like that.
Yeah.
My family, like, I'm a straight like first generation Mexican American, so
Okay.
like half of my family of my siblings were born in Mexico, half of us were born here. So there wasn't always a emphasis on education at all in my family. I remember my dad would always take me to work as a little kid, and he would always tell me, like, get an education so you don't have to work like this all day. Funny enough, I like working like that now,
Yeah.
now, because being
Uh-huh.
in like in what's it called, in the classroom, is just like way more exhausting mentally than it is being
Yeah.
outside in the
Yeah.
sun. Like that you can do, like that's easy, but
See,
it's just exhausting.
that's the juice. Okay.
That's the juice. Give me the sauce. What's the sauce?
Yeah, the juice. Okay, the sauce. Go to college. For y'all that don't know, the juice is temporary. Okay.
Yeah.
It has an expiration date, but sauce lasts a while. It's in the fridge for quite some
Preach.
time.
And that's the TO.
You
So-
could also freeze the sauce, bring the
Yeah.
sauce out later.
Yeah,
Store it
exactly.
later.
Yeah.
A lot of sauce is the long term. A juice is the short term. So working out there, you make the cheese. You got
Making
the juice.
some bones for sure.
Yeah, but I think it's also really rewarding to, if you go into like academia and stuff like that, and find like the connections with people, and you want to do something like much more, like writing research papers or opening businesses and going more into your field of study. Like, don't get me wrong, like I really appreciate like all the people that do like all that work, that
Yeah,
are
of
very
course.
practical and technical, because
Yeah.
that's something I can't like I've never like really learned how to do. Like, yeah, I've had like outside jobs before, but it wasn't something I saw myself doing. So for
Right.
those that feel like comfortable in that space,
Awesome.
Yeah, I mean, if it came down to like the integrity of this building depends on that weld you're about to do, then this place is coming down.
Yeah,
I
I'm
can't
like-
do it.
We need
I
people.
can't do it. It's coming down.
It goes hand in hand, and just to elaborate a little further on what I was saying. So like I said, my family was never emphasizing too much on education, but they knew they were encouraging me to go and do it, and so that kind of gave me that mentality of like, okay, well, I guess not. They won't necessarily like teach me how to like be in the education. Like I have to figure it out on my own. So that's sort of like the angle I took it at. And I mean, during high school, I wasn't very like adamant on that. So I was I was a solid C student. You know what I mean? And the only thing that kept me going was essentially cross country and sports. That some of the guys that I competed with were amazing. We had some pretty talented runners on that crew, and ultimately, by my junior year, everybody was talking about schools, visits and stuff like that. And by my senior year, of course, everybody was like signing and all that stuff. And me not having sort of like a guide through all of that process towards like the higher academia, I didn't necessarily know what to do, and I felt very pressured by some of my friends that were trying to help me, and the people that did help me, like I just didn't know what to tell them, because I was like, this is all expensive, like I don't have money, like I don't know what to do.
Like Hardin Simmons and
yeah, man, and
McMurray.
like I would like the offers that I got, because I was not to brag or anything like that, but I had some pretty solid times coming out of high school, and I was recognized at like at least a national level towards like USATF events and stuff like that. And because of it, I was getting letters from some pretty high schools and stuff like that. So I was talking to a couple schools in North Carolina, Louisiana, just other like out of state stuff. And
you're like that Ivy League kind of belt.
Boy. But it was very unfortunate for me to like go through that, because my grades didn't reflect what that was, and some of the scholarships only covered half of what was being essentially like having to be paid for. So ultimately one of my coaches helped me just kind of guided me through it, and I was settled on going to San Angelo, but like I said, I had no idea what I was doing. So some of the I think I tried to submit the SAT scores, and I just couldn't get them, just because no one was showing me what to do, and I ended up just coming up here, talking to the coach, and ultimately just decided like, hey, well, let's go here. Like you said, you heard about it, you kind of like, well, that works, it doesn't seem too hard, nothing too crazy about it. Went through the orientation, didn't think too much of it, and ultimately like I was like, this is what I'm gonna do for a while, like I have to just commit to it. And that's kind of like that opened up the like receiving scholarships, and just like recognizing how much is actually being offered to you, and seeing where that places you as far as tuition and housing, whatever else that you're paying for, that like really set it in stone, like, hey, like this is important, this is something that you have to like not only commit to, but just like work constantly at. Just I guess that is commitment, huh? but you know what I mean, like it definitely like puts it in stone. And I'm coming from like a more like an athletic perspective on it, but because of the athletic, because of the commitment to the sport and stuff like that, like I learned to apply what I learned through running to academic, and being in the classroom, paying attention, committing to like studies as well.
See, that makes me think, like, if I could sum up UTBB in like 3 words, it would be like just like coming in is like affordable, and then there's potential, and then personable. I think that was the one thing that got me, and like that like kind of solidified my decision. I was like, okay, I want to go here because it's so personable.
Yeah.
Like everything, like since it's such a small university, like everything just kind of feels one-on-one. Like, I mean, I've had like links of talks with like professors like for hours, and anytime I go to like financial aid in them, they always like, try to do their best to like get me on track. And,
putting it nicely.
Yeah. I mean, there's still like a lot of students, and I feel like, not every service here on campus, is like, what am I trying? They all try like their best to keep up with everything that's going on. I feel like
that's
since
fair.
Like when I'm talking about potential, like I feel like they're still kind of like lagging behind with their with the resources.
Yeah,
but
there's room for growth.
There's a lot of room for growth,
Definitely.
and I think our president Sandra Woodley is kind of like pushing us towards like all this advancement with like shout out Dr. Woodley.
Shout out Mama Woodley.
But I feel like she's doing like a really good job of like kind of pushing for more services, and kind of like because there's a lot of saturation here on campus, and I feel like we need more buildings to kind of like situate like,
And getting the funds for it too.
Yeah, getting the funds for it. And I feel like we're still not a very like nationally recognized college.
Yeah.
I mean, even locally, like when I was in Robert Lee, I knew about ASU. All my friends, or most of my friends, like went to ASU, I didn't even know what UTPB was.
Oh, wow.
And they're in the same conference, like
Exactly. I didn't know what it
same division and
was.
stuff.
But granted, I think we've grown like substantially over the time that I've been
Oh
here.
man, yeah, of course.
Yeah. So it's good to see that. Like, so you like summing up like affordable and a whole lot of potential. You can see it like every year, just new stuff being added, and then we have our 10-year plan. So
Yeah.
you can see exactly what we're aiming for, and then just being personable, having that one-on-one time, knowing that like, I mean, you can see, like, I've seen the same people on campus for the past like 3 years that I've been here.
Mm-hmm.
Like just every day, like I'm like, oh yeah, I remember them from freshman year. Like
yeah.
you pretty much will see everyone on campus
Mm-hmm.
like at least once, whether you know it, like recognize it or not. It's a pretty tight knit campus, but we're so like open for diversity and other things like that. Like which is what I really like about the university.
And even seeing the clubs whenever we were at club day, that definitely like put it in perspective as to how much
It even seemed bigger than just last semester's club day.
Mhm.
I mean, it seemed like it almost doubled in size.
Yeah. And that can also seem like, because Communication Club as well is kind of like a good representation of it, because I mean, when I joined last year, it was kind of like the end of the semester, and I mean, there weren't that many like members that were, besides like the
Mhm.
officers that would show up. But I feel like this year, like, I mean, we've had more people sign up, or like at least say that, sign up for the email
Yeah,
list
just
and
sign
stuff
up.
like that.
Mhm.
And we got a few people at the first meeting, and they seemed like really interested. So that's kind of like a good example of like how the university is also
Yeah.
growing. Oh, we never got to your transition story.
We never got to Alyssa's either.
Yeah, let's
Go ahead, Alyssa.
Let's touch on those.
Well, to start, I'm from Fort Stockton, Texas. So that's about an hour and a half away from UTPB. So I've known about UTPB,
Yeah.
So I came here, to be honest, because I really didn't think that I could get in to other universities. I really sold myself short with the
Aw.
SATs. And even though I really didn't do that bad, I just felt like I couldn't get into any other schools. I don't know why. So my advice is do not sell yourself short.
Yeah.
No, absolutely.
Do not do that.
Absolutely.
So, and honestly, I did not imagine myself to be here until graduation. I imagined myself here for 2 years just to kind of get started on college and, branch out to wherever I wanted to go. So when I got here, I didn't realize, well, I know you have to kind of force yourself to study and do homework and all of that. But in college, with taking dual credit classes, I took it from junior year to senior year. And they kind of, like you said, like they're on you. They're like, you need to do your homework, whatever. But that's still high school because they're trying to, in high school, they make you
meet
do
their
your
own
work.
standards.
Yeah.
Right.
Quick question.
So-
Did y'all do dual credit through Howard?
No, we did it through Midland College.
Okay, because I swear I had one class with like, because we could see like all the other classes on like a distance learning kind of thing, and I think Fort Stockton was in one of them.
Maybe some. I really don't know, but mine were through Midland College.
It's funny, all you guys were in dual credit, and they had to change my graduation plan so I could graduate.
What was I saying? Oh yeah, so the big thing for me was to stay on myself to do my work. I'll admit, like my first year, I was kind of slacking. I didn't realize how much I would actually like school, because now I enjoy writing essays. I enjoy going off about certain issues and topics that interest me. I find it really thrilling. I go into outside readings that aren't even required once you get started on your research, and I actually wanted to go and get my master's. And so looking back, selling myself short, only coming to UTPB, I mean, I kind of underestimated how fun it would be here and how many friends and how much memories I would make here. So
And I also think it's like lack of experience, like since we had no idea what exactly it was, and then like again coming here like thinking it's a small school, you didn't know what to expect, especially it being a smaller school than it was. So yeah, it definitely feels rewarding to like see like where you were coming from, like you were saying, like you sold yourself short, and then like realizing that like, hey, like that wasn't as difficult or whatever it is whatever you expected it to be, it wasn't that, you know.
Yeah. And
So yeah, my name's Dustin. I have a little bit different story than these other folks here, because I actually was in the workforce. I was working for an oilfield company, oilfield service company, and I just got tired of it. I was working about roughly anywhere from 90 to 120 hours a week.
wow.
Yeah.
Derek can or something?
No, I worked in the office. I had one of the good jobs.
Whoa. Okay.
But yeah, so I mean, I got to a point where it was like I couldn't move up in this company any higher without a college degree, and I couldn't get a college degree. You can't get a college degree when you're working 120 hours a week.
Wow.
So I quit and I went to Midland College for 2 years. Got a associate's degree in journalism. I'd always wanted to be a journalist. Like when I was a little kid, that was like my job. I was like, I want to be a journalist. And then I did 2 years of journalism, and I was like, man, these guys don't get paid shit. I'm not going to be a journalist. So I came here, and UTPB doesn't really have like a mass communication program. It's just communication. So I got into communication because of mass communication. But now that I'm in the program, there's so many different contexts of communication that I find more interesting than mass communication. My studies have primarily been focused on interpersonal communication. And I'm like Alyssa. I find myself reading scholarly articles about mass communication in my free time. About interpersonal communication in my free time. Yeah, I know, and so it's like I can't watch a movie anymore without like start talking about like the theory behind some of the motivations between like what these characters are doing.
I get that.
It annoys the crap out of my wife. But yeah, no, I just got to a point where I went to UTPB because for me it was about convenience. I live in Midland. It's a 20-minute drive for me, so I spend a couple hours over here in Odessa every day and then go back home to Midland. And it's about convenience. I actually got accepted in UNT also, but I came to UTPB because I would have had to UNT. I would have had to move. I would have had to figure something out to go to school in Denton. It wouldn't have been as easy as just like.
Would you have moved, or you just do it like online?
It would have been. I probably would have moved, but it would have just been me, and I would have drove back and forth on the weekends. And I decided I didn't want to do that.
You're married.
I'm married. Yeah. So she couldn't just like uproot and leave like I could. But yeah, so yeah, that's my story. I spent probably 17 years working in like not just in the oil field. I worked in retail, had a few other jobs, but 17 years like in the workforce. Then quit and went back to get my degree. So here I am in my mid-30s.
Never too late.
Yeah, I'm in my mid-30s, and I'm about to graduate here in less than a year with a bachelor's degree. So
Heck yeah.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
Glad
So
you're here, man.
that is how we all got here.
Yeah, like I think once I got into like after my first year in college and I got into the orientation program, I just want to quickly go over like everything I've been in so far.
Quickly go over everything.
Because I felt like after my first year, I was like, okay, I want to get involved and I want to make connections.
Yeah.
And I want to figure out what I want to do. So I was in the orientation program as an orientation leader 2 summers ago. After that, I was a senator for a semester as a sophomore representative. Then I was also I think I was the mascot that year as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were the mascot last semester.
Yeah. So I was the mascot. And then after that, I was the student orientation coordinator, so like right above an orientation leader. I actually helped make my job was like student experience, so I helped mold like the schedule and the things that we would do during like the orientation that we went through, like as the students. That's what I was in charge of, just everything that we did during that time. So gave me more like leadership and experience, also like doing interviews, making resumes, and also
setting up podcasts.
Look where it's got me now. But like also doing like group leadership, group activities, and team management, all sorts of like really like useful skills over the past. I became a student orientation coordinator in January, and then it ended in August, so like right before the semester started, and now treasurer of the Comm Club, and I feel like we're all, like we have like big plans, like.
Oh yeah.
And that's what I really like about the Comm Club. I feel like it's one of those clubs that we're just so open to
Yeah.
like, so many
Yeah.
different things.
Absolutely.
Not only that, but like everything that like. So you're talking about how you were involved with a bunch of programs here, and a
Yeah.
bunch of clubs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And just to throw in my 2 cents about that.
Do it.
My freshman year, I was on the cross country team, and that was kind of like the only thing. I still lived in Midland, so I was kind of commuting in between, so I didn't have much time for other stuff. But my second semester, I got a job at housing, which kind of like opened up that door to like other opportunities, which eventually got me the RA position.
Nice.
I housed for 2 years, and since I was on campus, I figured, I'd get involved in stuff like that. It just so happens that my sophomore year, I was super involved with just like, I can't even remember what clubs and stuff like that, but it was just sort of like, I became super busy from my sophomore year till my junior year, essentially, just because like of time management and stuff like that. Like with the RA position, like I had to know exactly what I was doing every hour of the day throughout the week, and with cross country as well, I had to work around it. So it was very, it was not overwhelming, but it put it into perspective, or it showed me a bunch of integrity as far as like commitments to stuff, essentially. And even with all the other stuff that I was involved with my junior year, like I was very busy, but it wasn't until like the Comm Club started that like I had like found like the type of people that was like I resonated with. You know what I mean? And that was like the main like aspect of why it was so important to me to like understand like, hey, like I can put stuff off to the side. Like I was a Falcon ambassador, and it's a great program. Again, it gave me a bunch of opportunities that I would have never seen otherwise. But the fact that like it eventually started to feel like an obligation for me to go rather than like like willingly, like I'm super excited to go to this huge event like that they hosted. It just was super evident that I was like, okay, like I need to step back, kind of like reevaluate what I'm doing here as on my social life, because I mean academics is like another aspect of it, but reevaluate my social life and just like commit to this. And so like ever since I joined the Comm Club, like I've felt like way more comfortable in my major, in my, you know what I mean, like
for sure, because coming in like being mid-30s and hanging out with a bunch of 18, 20-year-olds.
I'm 21.
Like 21. Like I could definitely feel like an outsider, and I've never felt that with this group, with the Comm Club. From the first time I went to a meeting, I just felt welcomed immediately.
Awesome.
Calm as you are.
Best slogan 2019.
Trademark.
As
of now.
But
we got need to take a break.
You got a big huff.
Really quick. Breathe.
trying to get the gears turning again. I was like, how do I transition? But over like years at college, like what are some things you would have known in hindsight, like that you would have, like you should have done like your freshman year?
Someone told you.
Yeah, it's like as a senior, like I really wish I kind of kept up with my finances and my financial aid more, because I was just like my parents really helped me out with like doing that, but they themselves didn't really understand it all, because I'm the first generation college, like I'm gonna graduate, and they're just kind of like, I never did like a FAFSA or never really applied for scholarships. So that was like one thing I was just like, okay.
Yeah, definitely apply for every scholarship you come across.
Yeah.
This is actually the first semester I didn't get a scholarship, which surprised me. It really surprised me.
Yeah, like over the years, like I would get like freshman merit still.
Yeah.
Like I still get freshman merit, which I don't really know what that is.
But I'll take it.
Yeah, I was like, I have it. So, I mean, my FAFSA covers most of it, but there's also, there's just like a lot of scholarships that are always up for grabs. Like I've heard of it was like a Native American like heritage scholarship. And literally, like this, it was one of my friends or someone that I knew, friend of a friend. They signed up being a white female. Like one of the prerequisites, like, oh, you have to be from like Native American heritage. But she was the only one that signed up for it, so she got it.
Oh wow.
So it's just like stuff like that. Just sign up for
Yeah.
scholarships.
You never know.
Know how much, like if you're gonna take out loans, know
Oh
how
my
much
God.
you are.
Oh no.
Your interest rate.
Yeah, know your interest rate. Know what a subsidized versus an unsubsidized loan is.
Huh?
And
Tell us more.
you want to know about that? Subsidized loans are.
We didn't know I signed up for.
Yeah, that was stuff that I just like recently kind of just like was keeping up with since I'm
Mhm.
about to be a senior. I'm like, okay, I
What am
really
I
need
doing?
to know.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm honestly though not like too far in the hole in like debt and stuff like that.
Okay.
So
Yeah, I'm not real bad.
Nice.
I'm not. I've got some student loans, and I'm going to come out in debt, but not
yeah, same.
not terribly.
I think the next like 2-3 years I'll just get rid of it.
Mhm.
But I really wish I was like I kind of like viewed communication not because I viewed it as like a business major because that's what they made it seem like when I came into it because I was like undeclared but I just put business management just because I would have like they would put me at least somewhere for the
Mhm.
time being and I learned a lot of cool stuff in that like in my seminar class like we all got a book.
Right.
We got one. We didn't read it.
Is that a book?
Yeah, we got a book that we
For the freshman
Freshman
seminar?
It was like it was like.
Oh yeah, I didn't do freshman seminar.
Me
So.
neither.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't come here when I was a freshman.
I
So.
don't remember what that book was. But
I don't.
It's
either.
Three
I know what
Musketeers
you're
this
talking about.
semester.
It was pretty cool.
It is.
Yeah,
You read it?
Yeah.
this semester is Three
Congrats.
Musketeers.
Yeah, I don't remember what.
Of
I
course
don't
I
remember
would.
what mine
Yeah.
was, but we
What was
learned
it?
how to do like since I was in business, we
Let's
learned
go
how to
write
like
that
finance cars and like. I feel like that's like practical stuff and like make PowerPoints and
Mhm.
kind of get in group presentations.
Oh man, that actually sounds useful, like super useful.
That's one
I
thing.
don't
So
remember my freshman seminar class.
I've heard everyone's freshman seminar classes are kind of useless.
Yeah, that's how I feel about
For the
mine. Like
most
nothing
part.
memorable, honestly.
Yeah, and here I am like, I felt like I had one of the more of the practical ones in the business side of it, and so
But they signed you up knowing that you were a minor in business, or
no, like I just
Don't
had
they-
I just put my majors business.
okay.
And they kind of
okay.
like separated the freshmen
That's
right,
from
that's
right.
the majors.
Because at that time I was in Kines.
Mhm.
I was a Kines major.
Yeah, I started off as an English major, and it switched over.
Mm-hmm.
I decided I was like I was saying earlier, like I just wanted to be a journalist, so I switched.
Uh-huh.
So I was actually switched to I was a communication major and an English minor, and then I didn't pay attention to what classes I needed to take and just took whatever.
Yeah.
And then I was like, well, I'm gonna have to take 2 extra classes to get. I had to get 126 credits to get
Right.
my minor in English, so I just switched to history. That's how I ended up being
Yeah.
communication major, history minor.
Wait, would y'all two start out?
Okay, let's see. No, I wanted to be a communication major, like, when I applied.
From the get go, so you've
Yeah.
always been a communication major?
Yeah, didn't feel like it, because,
Like, what were your first, like, 2, like, semesters here, like, as a communication major? Because I got into it, like, a year after.
Yeah. Okay, so I graduated in 2015, and I went to school for 2 years here, and just absolutely ate concrete as far as in my online classes. Like, so I guess, like, my tips and advice to, like, my freshman self, if you fail all your dual credit classes, you're clearly not going to do any better in college.
My GPA is, like, sweating.
Yeah.
It's like, woo.
Yeah. And, yeah, you're not going to do any better in college if you're not ready for it. So just take some time off if you even have the slightest suspicion that you need to, because trust me, you need to. The adults don't know what's best for you.
Because you're the adults.
Yeah.
now. You should know what's best for you.
Yeah,
But then again,
exactly.
for us mins, our brains aren't fully developed into 25.
That's
Apparently.
true.
So do we really know for the females, for the women's, for the nice young ladies, they are much more mature, young,
I'll
earlier
take
on.
it.
It's true. It's scientific apparently.
No, but yeah, even with coming in with the Kines major, like I knew I wanted to do like mass media related stuff, so I had it in mind to like be a sports commentators, something along the lines of that, sports management, stuff like that. But it wasn't after like I took a couple biology classes where I was like, okay, that's not what I'm
They
doing
say
today. Like,
I took one biology class and like I walked in, sat down, looked at the book. I was like, I ain't gonna pass this.
Yeah.
I gotta do something else.
Science majors are so freaking.
I don't know how they do it.
book smart.
Yeah.
Shout
That's
out
it.
Jackie.
Heck
Shout
yeah.
out.
Oh yeah, shout out to Jackie, part of the
She-
comic club last year. She was with us from the get go.
She's actually still part of the Comm
Yeah,
Club
she-
this
yeah,
year.
she
She
is.
just can't
She's
get
so
just
meetings.
busy with her science.
Yeah.
Today's October 10th, and I actually saw her today. I
Really?
wanted to state that it was today because I don't know when this
Document
is, but
that.
Yeah, saw her.
I have always known that I wanted to be a communication major, so I came here as a comm major, still a comm major. It's just where I belong.
There you
The
go.
reason I chose that was, I guess, I've always liked interacting with people. I've never really seen like a struggle with myself to like be nervous around interactions and stuff. And I also don't get nervous like speaking to large crowds. I don't know. It's just one of my things, I guess. And also, someone even told me like growing up that I interact with people, where I connect with people well, and I was like,
I know that's like one of my first memories from the communication club was you and me sitting next to each other playing Cards Against Humanity, realizing that neither one of us are going to win, so we pulled our points together and claimed victory.
Yes.
Even though no one else recognized it at the table. You and I won that game that night.
and now,
Yeah.
now you know.
And what about you, like?
So my piece of advice is critical thinking is super important when you go to college, and I can't think of a better way to do it than by watching movies and really thinking about what the movies are about. So watch a bunch of movies. Get ready for
Watch a
college.
bunch of movies, read books,
I love
lift
that.
weights,
Yeah.
Eat your oats.
eat your
Also,
oats, eat your Wheaties.
A piece of advice that I have too is check your emails.
Yes.
Oh my
How
god!
what is it in
Oh
chat?
my god! Let me tell you, as an orientation leader, we tell those freshmen to check their
Them
emails,
fish.
them fishies,
Oh,
and they're just like, it just goes in one ear, out the other. Like, oh no. I'm like,
Embarrassed.
no. Check your email, because that is the one place the university is going to tell you.
Yes.
Everything.
Like,
Yes.
What's going on
Yes.
with
If
you?
you-
Where to go?
If you're getting scholarships, your email. If you
Yeah.
you need to pay off a balance, email.
If you're getting-
Professors,
email.
If you're getting kicked out of school, email.
That might be a time to ignore the
If
email.
you go see Corey Benson because you be drinking tea, email.
It's a lot. Emails are essential.
Yes.
I agree with
Yeah,
that.
like
yes.
we have a student email. If you can't get into it, go to IRD, get it fixed, get it sorted out.
We
because
got the resources.
we got the resources here. Just ask around. Someone will know.
We got the sauce.
We got
for
the
sure.
sauce. We don't play with juice. It's all about sauce.
I get mine redirected to my personal email.
ooh. See, and you can do that.
You can do that.
No, you could do that. But I kind of like having the two separate emails, so it's not all like one
Strictly
flooded.
business.
Professional.
Strictly business, and then my other one
Miscellaneous.
miscellaneous. I guess like more advice that I would have. Find a way to be motivated.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Find a way to stay involved.
Mm-hmm.
That is like the number one thing. That's kind of like what the communication club is all about.
Mhm.
Is trying to build connections, increase events on campus so people have more options to stay involved,
Mm-hmm.
and just like kind of like promoting communication in our daily lives,
Mm-hmm.
because it's so important, not just for let's say, I guess communication would be the thing of just like one-on-one, but group settings, office settings, business,
work,
relationships.
family. Like it doesn't matter what
It's an
sort of relationship.
essential part of life.
It's the fundamental component, and just like
We're always communicating.
Yes.
Like we're
Every
all-
moment.
who-
Every day.
every moment, every day.
Even if you're not speaking.
Yeah, pay attention
if
to
you're not-
like.
yeah, if you're not speaking, you're communicating that you're
You're not-
something's
Yeah.
wrong.
Yes.
Like
Yeah, pay attention too. I have a tendency to like sit back and cross my arms whenever I'm in like in a
Yeah.
meeting or whatever, and it's not that I'm not paying attention. It's just comfortable to sit this way. So just, but be
It's not
be
that deep.
be aware of what your body language,
Yes.
what your body position and what kind of messages those like the other people in the meeting might perceive that
How
as.
you present yourself.
Yeah, and like 90% of our communication, or somewhere around that, is like non-verbal.
Yes, so Abramson, I think it's Abramson. It was 93.7. 93% is nonverbal. 7% are the actual words that you say.
That's insane.
Seriously.
That's actually crazy.
People are always
Bogus.
reading each other.
So would y'all agree that you can, like, you're always communicating? Is there a way to not communicate?
No, I
No.
don't think so.
There's not.
Exactly.
Sorry.
Exactly.
Not
So-
sorry.
Not sorry.
So, kind of like my advice: open up your lifestyle. If you're going into college straight out of high school, that's the number one thing. You need to expand your horizons, listen to more music, talk to more people, go to events, do things outside of your comfort zone. But be safe, guys. Be safe.
College is kind of a time, I wouldn't say necessarily to reinvent yourself, but kind of explore yourself.
Yeah,
kind of
it's
figure
definitely
out.
a time to come out of a shell if
Yeah.
you've been in
Yeah.
one.
So, get involved, join groups, join clubs, and make study groups, because honestly, those are really fun.
Yeah.
And something that Dr. Cox said the other day was, it's not a competition. We're all in here learning together,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, and help each other out. Like,
Yeah.
that's like the number one thing. Like, I love seeing like study groups and stuff like that. Personally, I study better like when I'm on my own because I get distracted too much. I get distracted, but I appreciate any. Oh, who am I?
What are we doing again?
What we're doing a podcast? What? I just appreciate like any help that I get, not only from faculty but from the students themselves as well.
Of course.
Yeah, and just to add to what you're saying about like not reinventing yourself, like learn to be practical. I think the majority of the country thinks going into college is like party and like all this crazy stuff. No, like that's the time where you need to learn how to just be practical.
Yeah, I know my senior years, but nothing like the college senior meme.
Yeah.
It's been nothing like that.
Yeah. Like, I thought, like, honestly, going to college was like, I thought there was going to be, like, parties and everyone would be drinking and smoking, and I thought it was going to be, like, totally radical.
Yeah, that's not the UTPB culture.
No.
Just, we barely became a dry campus. I mean,
We're all moist
Wait.
campus.
A
We're a
moist.
moist campus, okay? You can only
I don't wanna
have
say that.
you can only have the funny juice and the 21 and up dorms, okay?
come to my dorm.
What? So, yeah, I feel like UTBB kind of like, creates like a safe environment just to learn and grow and mature as a person. Because I felt like over these past like 3 years that I've been here, it's just like so like eye-opening from my like small humble beginnings of not really knowing like really a whole lot of what I wanted to do. But once I came in here, went through business management, then I was like, I want to get into acting. I did a visual arts and performance. Then realized that wasn't a program here because literally nobody told me. And then I talked to the professor, and they were like, "Oh yeah, that's getting disbanded." I was like, "Okay." So I jumped board. I immediately jumped to humanities, and I was like, "I'm not really here. Like, I want to be a little bit more general because humanities is kind of broad." And then I was like, I gave my first speech in the intro to speech or whatever.
You found your call.
I was like mind blown. I was like, I'm actually kind of good at this. And then I kind of realized my character of like what I like to do and what I wanted to learn more about is just how people interact with each other. Because when I was giving those speeches, I would see everyone in the room's face, and if they were doing something like, if they're rolling their eyes, then I'm like, okay, maybe that's not what they wanted to hear. I mean, it never happened, but if it was, if it did, I'd feel kind of embarrassed. I'm like, okay, but if they're like falling asleep or anything like that, I wanted to know like, how to kind of engage with the people. So that's kind of why I really kind of lean towards communication. The past, I think I got into it like a year ago. I'm almost done with it already too.
Nice.
So yeah, so I feel like I really found my place here on campus and finding my message, or finding my niche.
Yes.
My niche.
Niche. How do y'all feel? Are y'all?
How long have we been
Great.
recording?
It has been 1 hour.
Okay.
Yeah, I
This
mean,
has
I
been
feel like
fun.
I definitely see this happening on a regular basis.
I feel great about this. I feel like usually I at the end of like something like this, I try to just like understand how I feel about it. I feel great.
Me
you
too.
know, like initially, so without even getting too complex about it, I feel great.
Yeah.
I like getting
Sorry.
caught up in conversation.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing. Like that's why I like communication too. Just like everyone's like style of communication is so unique.
And knowing how to like, hey, I gotta go. Like, hey,
The
it's
right
time,
moments.
Get what is it?
Como se
the most
dice?
opportune.
The Kairos.
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 Shout out our Socrates.
So when we were going over Aristotle, did anybody else think back to like a rhetorical analysis they'd done for like a freshman level class, and you're like, man, I did a really bad job.
Yeah. I think I look back.
Like I was thinking about like I did an ad analysis in English 1302, and I was thinking about it. And I was like, man, I just said it made it appeal to emotion. Never said what emotion. Just said it appealed to them though.
Just say the path.
The pathos.
And then they're like, oh. The press was like, get it. Yes. Yes.
Oh my.
All right. I feel like we have said an efficient amount.
Yeah, we said
We
enough.
got some good content.
Yeah.
So let's close it out. We'll go around. Say some encouraging words, and then we'll close it out.
Well, I feel like I don't have anything else to say other than thank y'all. I appreciate it very much for listening, tuning in. Shout out to Mariana and to Ira for starting the Comm.
Thank
you. And to everybody else that was a part of this. Yeah.
You will never stop learning through adulthood. You're always going to be adapting, changing, evolving, shape-shifting. You'll never stay the same person. You're always going to keep learning. That's all I have to say.
Exactly.
Just maintain some confidence, even if you don't feel like you're doing your best. There's probably other people in your class that are feeling the same way. So just remember that it's not about, like we said earlier, it's not a competition. It's not about being the best. It's just about doing you.
So sometimes it can be scary when you don't know what's next. So just find peace in uncertainty because you will figure it out.
Yes.
I really agree with that, and I guess my words of encouragement is you will find yourself, like, eventually. It may not be in college. It may not be after college, like, immediately after, but you will find who you are through people that you interact with. So always, like, interact with people. Always engage. Don't be afraid to go outside your comfort zone, and just be yourself. Try to be your purest self, and people will come to you. You don't have to go out and find them. People will be attracted to whoever you are.
The law of attraction, right?
Exactly.
I actually do have something to say.
Yes.
Don't doubt your integrity. I honestly truly
Mm-hmm.
believe that. Don't doubt it. Work first. Work as hard as you want, and if it's way more than was necessary, then you just, like, you're just that much further ahead.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
All your work is appreciated by someone.
Yes.
May not be immediately, but someone will recognize it.
And even having appreciation for yourself is like
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
key for
First and
that.
foremost.
Love yourself,
Yes.
and then you'll understand how to love others.
Yes.
Yes.
And on that note,
Preach it.
So, name it off.
All right. Well, thank y'all so much. This is Comm Talk from the right. Comm Talk. I didn't validate it, but Comm Talk from the Comm Club here at UT Permian Basin. Signing off. We'll catch you guys next time.
See you later.
thanks for listening.
See ya.